Hi, I'm David Chuez, and I'm going to talk the color of the space. To the west of Arkham, there are a jungle territories wrapped in an atmosphere of suffocating horror that leaves fearful to what those right to approach. The cursed wetland is called. Amy Pierce is the only one who lives near the place and knows exactly what happened in the strange days. I went to see him and he told me his story. It all began one night in Jan 1882, more than 40 years ago, with the fall of a millionaire of the Garnet family, a family composed of Naum, Navy, and their children Zenas, Thaddeus, and Merwin. Several scientists went to investigate the meteor that presented strange characteristics and unimaginable and indescribable colors for any one science that did not belong to the spectrum visible by humans, which after a stormy night disappeared entirely. In the following year, species of full grass began to grow in the surroundings, and the former animals appeared. Between April and May, insects arrived and strange vegetation gray, fruit colors, and indescribable forms. The gardeners began to submerge themselves in the craze, and Amy moved away from them. Navi was the first to go crazy and Naum locked her in the attic. Naum's children stopped going to the school, and Thaddeus also went crazy and his father locked him in a room in front of his mother. Put them to shout at each other speaking in a strange idiom. This unleashed fear in the population, and they began to exclude the family. Some scientists, after investigating the area, conclude that the land had been contaminated by some extreme mature mineral which affected plants and animals. In September of this year, all the vegetation began to acquire a greenish and brighter colors. The animals suddenly become ill and the former becoming disgusting abominations, ending death in an horrifying way. Thaddeus is founded and in October Merwin disappears. Now goes to Amy and tells him what happened. After 2 weeks, in November, Amy goes to the Garner house, where there was a bleak, faint and dark landscape. Upon entering the house, they saw Naum lying in the kitchen, but still giving orders to Zena. He went up to the attic to see Navi. When he entered the dark room, he was horrified with a monster figure surrounded by a vapor of strange colors that appeared in front of him. Amy, with a scream, closed the door and confirmed that Navi had died. Lauren, they hear stated as the color was consuming now. Upon arriving at the kitchen, he observed the disfigured face of what was once a man, and understood, and the meteor brought with it the color that consumes the light. Amy escaped and went to their city to warn the police of the cruel destiny of the Garner family, and later returns with several men. At night, they watched with terror and agony as the cloud coming out of the wave were larger. The animals screamed wildly. The trees swayed vertically without any wind, and the color was consuming everything in its path. The group of 6 men fled from the house and from the mountains, watched a glowing column shot with that horrible color from the web of the sky where it disappeared and a hole between the clouds. Followed by a great explosion in the house that made it disappear completely without leaving any trace. However, now called briefly after how vestige of the monstrous color had among the remains of the well, understanding that evil would still remain in place. That was the end of the story that Amy told about the strange days and the origin of the cursed weather that still has a great scary mystery. The end. This story was written by renowned horror writer Howard Phillips Lovecraft in September 1927 and published in Amazing Stories magazine. Instantly, it was very popular until it was considered one of the best horror and science fiction stories of all time. The author presents a single chromatic element at the greatest of the horror styles and treating the protagonist, something innovative for the time. The story is relatively short, and among its themes highlight the insignificance of the human being in an unknown universe, the impossibility of escaping of destiny, the madness, the fears, and the death. His narrative has overwhelming moments and great psychological tensions, where the description of unconventional environments and emotions full of terror predominates, contrasted with realistic elements with scientist-based and cosmic nature. I like this story a lot because it maintains a constant suspense until the end, generating a mystery in the true nature of the color or the entity that produces it. Science not being able to understand or perceive its physical form, created a metaphorical mysticism around the events, and thanks to the continuous and detailed descriptions, the reader can immerse himself in all the fantastic and dark situations that cannot be explained because they come from another world with different natures to those with no escaping from the imagination of the humans. Bang. All this tries and throws the characters until reaching the reader, creating a memorable story, saturated with mystery and wrapped in a gloomy, disgusting, and disturbing atmosphere. The characters are excellently constructed, deep and memorable, which help sustain the story and maintain the suspenseful moments. Lovecraft also cultivated poetry, essays, and epistolary literature. He is considered a genius of horror literature and one of the most influential authors of the 20th century. In this story, Lovecraft puts into practice his famous quote: "The oldest and most intense emotion of humanity is the fear, and the oldest and most intense of the fear is the fear to the unknown." Thank you for listening, and I really recommend this book, The Color of the Space.